Emily, please, try to understand. I never meant to lie to you. Your birth mom willingly gave you to me, claiming she couldn't raise you as a single mother. It was a difficult decision for both your father and me, but I couldn't bear to see you abandoned, so I chose to raise you as my own. I don't care. You took me away from my real mom. You wanted a perfect little family, and I was just a pawn in your game. That's not true, Emily. I never tried to manipulate anything. I fell in love with you from the moment I held you in my arms. Huh! More like you used me to fulfill your dreams of being a mother and a wife. I was just a convenient solution for you, wasn't I? Emily, please listen to me. I never wanted to deceive you. Yes, I wanted a family, but that doesn't mean I didn't love you with all my heart. You keep telling yourself that, but it doesn't change the fact that you lied to me all these years. I can't trust you anymore. I don't want you in my life. I am Rachel, and I've always been the kind of person who thrives on traditional values. As a 52-year-old woman, I have spent most of my life working as an elementary school teacher, cherishing the joy of nurturing young minds. My friends often describe me as dependable, caring, and perhaps a tad reserved. I was married to a man named Mark, and we raised a wonderful child together. My daughter Emily had been the center of my world for 25 years. She's grown into a remarkable woman, smart, ambitious, and fiercely independent. She's engaged to Jake, a kind-hearted and compassionate man who loved her deeply. Emily and I shared a unique bond, and I thought we had an unbreakable connection. But life had a surprise in store for me, one that would test the very foundation of our relationship. That day, my life took an unexpected turn. Mark was out of town on one of his business trips, and I received a text from him. He told me that Emily had found out about our little secret. The truth is that I wasn't Emily's birth mother. Years ago, when I just graduated from college, Mark and I were part of a really fun and big group of friends. One of them, Dylan, had a girlfriend named Veronica. Unfortunately, Dylan passed away in a car accident during his most beautiful year, and Veronica was left alone with Dylan's child. She was really depressed at that point because she didn't want to have a baby alone. When she gave birth to the child, she left it in our hands. Then she fled the city and cut all contact with us. Nobody knew where she went. That baby was Emily. I had never thought of Emily as someone else's child. She was, and still is, my daughter. She could be difficult to deal with at times, but I really cared for her. But perhaps I was spoiling her a little too much, just to make up for the fact that Mark and I had kept that secret from her for years. Now I'm wondering, how did she even find out? I didn't even have time to process the message that Mark left me. It was not long after Mark's revelation that our daughter confronted me. Emily was angry and hurt, feeling that I had deceived her all these years. She accused me of pretending to be her real mother and taking her away from her birth mother, Veronica. I tried to explain that Veronica had willingly handed Emily over to me, demanding money in exchange. At the time, she claimed she couldn't raise a child as a single mother and vowed never to see Emily again. I had felt a mix of emotions, but above all, I couldn't bear to see this tiny, innocent life abandoned. So I took Emily in, hoping to give her a better life. But it seemed like Emily wasn't in the mood to listen. Emily, please, try to understand. I never meant to lie to you. Your birth mom willingly gave you to me, claiming she couldn't raise you as a single mother. It was a difficult decision for both your father and me, but I couldn't bear to see you abandoned, so I chose to raise you as my own. I don't care. You took me away from my real mom. You wanted a perfect little family, and I was just a pawn in your game. That's not true, Emily. I never tried to manipulate anything. I fell in love with you from the moment I held you in my arms. Huh, more like you used me to fulfill your dreams of being a mother and a wife. I was just a convenient solution for you, wasn't I? Emily, please listen to me. I never wanted to deceive you. Yes, I wanted a family, but that doesn't mean I didn't love you with all my heart. You keep telling yourself that, but it doesn't change the fact that you lied to me all these years. I can't trust you anymore. I don't want you in my life. I never wanted to hurt you, Emily. I'm sorry if I did, but cutting me out of your life won't change the past. Can we find a way to work through this? No, I have made up my mind. I don't need you, and I certainly don't need your fake love and lies anymore. Just stay away from me and my wedding. I understand that you're upset and angry, but please know that I love you, and I always will. If you change your mind, I'll be here for you. I highly doubt that, but it doesn't matter. I have my real mom, Veronica, and she's coming to my wedding. I'll be surrounded by people who truly care about me, not someone who pretended to be my mother. Wait, what are you saying? Then Emily stops responding. She simply wasn't convinced by my explanation. It hurt to hear her say those words, but I couldn't deny that she was right about one thing. I had wanted a family and had hoped Emily would fill the void in my heart. After that conversation, I was devastated by her decision, feeling like I had failed as a mother. I was also overwhelmed. What did she mean when she said that Veronica was coming? Also, I couldn't help but feel betrayed by Mark for telling Emily the truth behind my back. I tried calling and texting Mark, but to my frustration, he didn't respond to any of my attempts. I thought I was going crazy because no one was explaining to me what had happened. Finally, someone reached out to me with the truth, but painfully, it was Veronica. Well, look who it is. The little saint who raised my daughter all these years. Veronica, is that you? Of course. What? You thought I was dead or something? Why are you back? It's been so long and you cut us out of your life. Oh, please, spare me the act. I'm back in town and I'm ready to take back what's rightfully mine. What do you mean? Emily is my daughter? I raised her as my own? You left her willingly all those years ago. Like I care about that now. I was young and stupid back then, but things have changed now, and I want my daughter back. You can't just barge in after all this time and claim her like she's some possession. Emily is a person with feelings and a life here. Oh, but it doesn't matter, does it? You see, your dear husband Mark has been on my side this whole time. Emily's going to believe everything Mark tells her. What? That's not possible. Mark would never betray me like that. Oh, he already has, darling. You were so busy playing the devoted wife and mother that you never saw it coming. Mark has always been secretly in love with me. No, that can't be true. Mark loves me. We have been through so much together. Please, Rachel, open your eyes. He never stopped loving me, even after all these years. And you know what's even more delicious? Our little Emily. She's Mark's daughter. What? That can't be true. You were with Dylan back then. He was supposed to be... Oh, please, Rachel. Do you really think she looks like Dylan? Look at her and look at Mark. She has his dreamy eyes, don't you think? She's his daughter, not Dylan. How could you do this, Veronica? I needed someone to take care of Emily while I was gone, and you were all willing to play the part of the devoted mother. You're heartless, Veronica. To use me? To use Emily like this? How could you? Life isn't a fairy tale, Rachel. You should have known better. Oh, poor Dylan. He had no idea. Spare me the act, Rachel. You were so happy to be a mom. It's a good thing that he's gone because he would have been in my way to success. How could you say that? Oh, for God's sake, you're pathetic. I'm done with you here. Have fun living alone for the rest of your life. I felt like my heart was being ripped apart. The love and trust I had once shared with Mark now felt like a distant memory. In the midst of all the turmoil, I decided to cancel the payments I had made for Emily's wedding. It was a painful move, but I couldn't bring myself to support an event where I felt unwelcome. I had previously planned to use up almost all of the savings I had after years of working, just to make my daughter happy. Now that I realized she was not going to be around when I needed her, I was left feeling really insecure. I knew I needed to save that money for myself. Unfortunately, Emily was furious at my decision. She called me on the phone and was constantly accusing me of being petty and selfish. I tried to explain that it wasn't about revenge, but about coming to terms with my own feelings and trying to move on. Emily and Mark came to my door, hoping to reason with me and ask for financial help with the wedding. I stood my ground, refusing to let them in and calling the police to mediate the situation. It was hard to watch them leave, but I knew that I needed time and space to heal from all the hurt and betrayal. As the days turned into weeks, I struggled to come to terms with the new reality of my life. I felt lost and confused, wondering if I would ever be able to find happiness again. I confided in my close friends who offered their support and understanding, helping me navigate through the emotional turmoil. Unfortunately, Emily and her fiancé Jake faced challenges of their own. It turned out that I was the only parent who was willing to help them with their lavish wedding. His family was disappointed with the sudden cancellation of the payments, and they suggested the couple reconsider their union. After just a month after that, Jake decided to break off the engagement, unable to handle the complexity of the situation. Seeing Emily's relationship fall apart only added to my feelings of guilt and sadness. I knew that my actions had played a part in causing her pain, but at the same time I knew that I was not at fault. I only did what I needed to do. As the days turned into months, I embraced the support of my friends and focused on building a life for myself, free from the weight of the past. I realized that I needed to forgive myself for the mistakes I had made and let go of the guilt that had consumed me. I moved to a different town and started working as an independent educational advisor. That job allowed me the freedom to enjoy the beautiful landscapes of the small, picturesque town. Life has a way of surprising us, and it wasn't all darkness and despair. One evening, as I was taking a stroll in the park, I met a kind and compassionate man named Jay. He was a gentle soul, with a warm smile and a heart of gold. We struck up a conversation and soon found ourselves spending more time together. Jay brought laughter and joy back into my life, and I began to feel hope for the future. A few months later, I received an unexpected call from no one else but Emily. I was bracing myself for mean accusations and petty lies. But from the other end of the call, Emily was crying. "Mom, I don't know what to do. Dad and Veronica took all my savings and disappeared. Please help me, Mom. I am so sorry about what happened." "Emily, hold on. Calm down first. What happened exactly?" "They said it was for a business venture and convinced me to invest all my money. The wedding fell through, so I still had some savings." "Oh God, I should have known better, Mom. I trusted them blindly and now I'm left with nothing. I feel so stupid." "Emily, I'm sorry that happened. I don't know what to say." "I should have seen the signs, Mom. Veronica was always so charming and convincing. I wanted to believe in them, and now they have left me with nothing, not even a penny." "Okay, tell me, when did you last talk to them?" "I don't know, a few days ago. God, I feel like such a failure." "Okay, I'll call the police, alright? Just try to stay calm. We'll figure this out. I don't want to burden you, Mom. You've already done so much for me, and now I'm causing more trouble. I'm so sorry about what happened. I feel like everything is falling apart. Alright, Emily, we can talk about us later, but right now we'll figure this out, okay? Okay. My heart pounded with a mix of anger and determination. I couldn't let Mark and Veronica get away with what they had done. Jay came to my rescue just when I needed it the most. His connections in the airline business proved invaluable as he discovered that the treacherous duo was planning to catch a flight abroad. I knew I had to act swiftly, so I immediately called the police. With Jay's help, we provided them with all the information we had gathered about Mark and Veronica's plans. The officers assured me that they would do everything possible to stop them from fleeing the country. It was a race against time as Jay continued to gather updates from his contacts in the airline industry. I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope knowing that someone had my back during this harrowing ordeal. The weight of the betrayal and deceit crushed me, but I knew I had to remain focused on bringing them to justice. Hours seemed like an eternity as I waited anxiously for the police to act. My heart pounded in my chest with each passing moment, fearing that they would slip away before the authorities could apprehend them. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. Jay informed me that the police had managed to locate Mark and Veronica at the airport just as they were about to board the plane. A sense of relief and satisfaction washed over me, knowing that justice was served. With the police in control, Mark and Veronica were taken into custody. My hands trembled with a mix of emotions as I thanked Jay for his support. His love had proven to be a lifeline during this nightmare. As the news of their arrest spread, I felt a mix of emotions. Part of me was furious at their audacity and heartlessness, while another part of me was grateful for the swift intervention of the police. Knowing that they were behind bars, unable to harm anyone else, brought a sense of closure to the painful chapter of betrayal. In the days that followed, I focused on helping Emily heal from the emotional wounds caused by her father's betrayal. Over time, Emily and I started to rebuild our relationship. We had honest and heartfelt conversations, sharing our pain and regrets. Emily admitted that she had been overwhelmed by her emotions and that she had acted impulsively in the heat of the moment. She came to appreciate the love and care I had given her over the years and see that my intentions had always been genuine. She painfully admitted to me that she was acting like a spoiled brat, and she learned the lesson the hard way. She profusely apologized and promised to try and be a better person. As for me, I found love and happiness with Jay. We built a life together filled with laughter, love, and acceptance. He accepted me for who I was, embracing both my past and present. With Jay by my side, I finally found the peace and contentment I had been searching for all along. Who would have thought I found the love of my life in my 50s? Life had thrown me a curveball, but I had learned to navigate through the storm and find my way back to happiness. My journey was far from easy, but it was worth every tear shed and every painful moment endured. In the end, I emerged stronger, wiser, and grateful for the second chance at love and family. As I reflect on my life now, I realize that we can't always control the events that unfold, but we can control how we respond to them. I chose to embrace forgiveness, love, and hope, knowing that they're the keys to unlocking a brighter future. My name is Lindsay, and I'm a dedicated teacher. I came from a long line of educators, and I believe that teaching is my calling. I love imparting my knowledge to students, and I love being their mentor. So the moment that I graduated college, I immediately applied to different teaching positions, and luckily, I secured a permanent position at one of the country's top universities. My first few years have been a life-changing experience. The overwhelming feeling of living my dream and doing my passion is gearing up my entire system. Every day, I am motivated to work because it feels so good and liberating to do what I love. I received several plaques of recognition and awards regarding my performance as an educator. On top of that, I received an immediate promotion due to my dedication and hard work. All my life, I was so focused on my career. Throughout my early 20s, I was so busy building an image and a reputation that would elevate my career. My coworker even admired my work ethic and the level of professionalism that I exert in my job. Aside from that, I do honor the nobility and value that comes with my profession. As a teacher, I highly recognize it by performing my job to the best of my ability, and I'm truly known for doing it. I don't get easily swayed by parents who offer money or any assistance just to improve their children's grades. I have received this kind of offer before, and it served as one of the turning points of my career. It was during my first year being promoted, and I now already have an advisory class. And as a class advisor, I want what's best for my students. I want all of them to have high grades and excel in every academic activity. However, there would always be an odd one out, and what's unlikely is that in my class it was a girl. She was lean, beautiful, had a good body, and was a troublemaker. She always ditched my classes and often threw bad attitudes around her classmates, even towards teachers. She has a piling list of bad records in the guidance office because of her bad moral behavior. She was caught smoking cigarettes inside the campus premise, seen walking into a club as a minor during a school night, and was also discovered in possession of drugs inside the classroom. She has such a rebellious spirit. I don't even know what she sounds like because she doesn't even enter my class, and whenever she's present, she would just sleeps the entire time. And with that, I failed her on my subject because there was nothing for me to grade. She did not pass any projects, assignments, quizzes, or activities that my subject required. It just felt like she just enrolled in my subject, breathed, and did nothing. So I was left with no choice and failed her instantly. And I was right, the student went hysterical after she knew that I failed her. I expected this reaction already, for it happened a lot to my coworkers. She went straight to my office by force. I could still remember how furious she was as she approached me. She shouted at me and even dropped insulting words at me. She banged her palms into my office table, and it shocked me to the bone. Does this girl even know how to respect?
How could you do this to me, Miss Lindsay? You failed me. You're just a terrible teacher.
I stayed calm and responded to her with ease. Nikki, please take a seat. Let's talk about this calmly. I could feel her fuming mad, and her aura is beyond repair. She is angry, and I refuse to believe that this girl even has good manners and right conduct.
No, I won't sit. This is unfair. You hate me, and you're just trying to ruin my life.
Nikki, that's not true. As your teacher, it's my responsibility to assess your performance based on your attendance and academic effort. Your grade reflects that. I rarely see you in my class, and whenever you're present, you'll just sleep throughout the entirety of the discussion. Aside from that, you don't even have the chance to pass any requirements of the subject, and that left me with nothing to do but to fail you abruptly. I can't just lie and put a grade that I seemed fit to you. You simply didn't perform. That's it. I answered her professionally, and I wanted her to understand it fully, but her anger truly outshined. She was so angry at me that I could feel her almost tearing me apart. She raised her voice once again and shouted at me with madness.
This is a load of crap. You're just out to get me. You probably have it out for all the students who don't worship the ground you walk on. You're unfair, you're stupid, you think you're just perfect. Just look at you, your life is boring.
I was taken aback by what she said. It pained me to the core, but I remained composed and dealt with her professionally. Nikki, I treat all my students fairly, but I can't give you a passing grade when you barely show up for class and neglect your assignments. She rolled her eyes.
Oh, look at Miss Lindsay, the perfect teacher who thinks she's better than everyone else. You think you're so high and mighty?
Nikki, I'm not perfect, but I take my role as a teacher seriously. I want to see all my students succeed, including you, but that requires effort and commitment from your side as well. She went raging in madness again.
Save your self-righteous speeches. You're just a pathetic, bitter woman who can't stand it when someone challenges you. A younger woman, perhaps, like me. Just admit that you are insecure because I'm young and beautiful, unlike you, an aging whore.
I wanted to slap her, but I controlled myself. I don't want to be the losing party here. I just took a deep breath and controlled myself again. Nikki, I understand that you're upset, but using hurtful words won't change your grade. I'm here to help you if you're willing to put in the effort.
Oh, like I need your help. I will make sure everyone knows what a terrible teacher you are. You won't last long here. Just wait and see.
I hope you'll consider your approach, Nikki. Spreading rumors and using harsh words won't solve anything. I want to see you succeed, but I can't do that for you. It's up to you to take control of your education. She stormed out of my office, leaving me shaken by her outburst. It was a painful encounter, but I refused to let her words define me. But that interaction was just the beginning. She pestered my life even more when she decided to drop out, and even before she left, she dropped a rumor that almost ruined my career. She spread false gossip that I was dating our school principal, and it is not even true. I was so focused on my career that I wasn't even entertaining any guys in my life. Many people believed it, and even most of my co-workers gossiped about me. I was so embarrassed and ashamed about it because my reputation was tainted and the career that I so worked hard to establish almost crumbled. But good thing our school principal was rational. He announced to everyone that the information was a lie and it was just degrading gossip meant to ruin me. After that, I tried my best again to build my reputation and elevate my career until I met my husband, George. We dated for a year until we decided to join hands in marriage. Our life was perfect together. Never have I ever imagined that I would marry someone as loving as him. But my life was turned upside down when I discovered that my husband George was cheating on me. Our marriage had always seemed solid, but the signs were there. Late night phone calls, secretive behavior, and a distance between us that grew by the day. My gut feeling told me something was amiss, and unfortunately, I was proven right. And imagine, we are just in our second year of marriage. He grew distant towards me and he seemed cold when it comes to his treatments. And then some of his co-workers told me that he's seeing a young girl at the bar and he would invite that girl to their parties and trips. I was so devastated because they even emphasized that the girl was only 18 years old. She was pretty and seductive. I wanted to confront my husband, but I needed more evidence so that I could freely throw my anger at him with no hesitation. But he did me a favor because one day George dared to bring home his mistress. My heart sank as I saw her and I had to hold back tears of anger and hurt. But as I looked at her more closely, something clicked in my memory and my anger turned into disbelief. Nikki was none other than a student I had taught in high school, the same girl who almost destroyed my career and reputation. It was Nikki. My heart almost skipped a beat as I saw her clinging to my husband's arm. Years ago, she was just in my class. She rarely attended my lectures because, as you all know already, she had a reputation for being a troublemaker and spreading malicious rumors about teachers she didn't like, which happens to be me. And yes, that was one of the most unfortunate events of my career. I became one of her targets when she accused me of having an affair with the principal, which nearly led to me losing my job. But still, I managed to prove my innocence and bounce back even better. But the damage had been done, and it haunted me for a long time. Now, fate had brought Nikki back into my life, and I saw an opportunity for revenge. My husband wanted me out of his life because he doesn't like me anymore because I look like a scarred, wrecked, homeless woman. George, how could you do this to me? I never thought you would betray me like this.
I don't want to hear it, Lindsay. You're overreacting as usual.
Overreacting? George, you brought your mistress into our home. How can you expect me not to react?
It's not like we had a perfect marriage. You were always too busy with your teaching and never made time for us.
I felt a sudden sting in my heart. This pains me to the core. I loved my job, George, but I always made time for you and our family, and now you're blaming me for your affair?
It's not just about that, Lindsay. You're always so uptight and controlling. It's exhausting being around you, and look at you, you're ugly. Even comparing you to Nikki is an insult on her part. You're a mess.
I fought back my tears from falling. Is that why you cheated? To escape from me?
Maybe it was. Nikki makes me feel alive and free. Something you have never been able to do. And besides, she's sexy. Just look at her.
Just then, Nikki chimed in, adding fuel to the fire.
Oh, poor Lindsay, acting like she's some kind of saint. You're nothing special, you know. I missed you, by the way. Long time no see.
She chuckled with fakeness. Nikki, please just stay out of this.
Why? You can't handle the truth. George needed someone exciting, not a boring old teacher like you.
You have no idea what I am or what I have been through.
Please spare me the sob story. You're just a washed-up, pathetic woman who can't keep her husband satisfied.
I may have made mistakes, but I won't stoop to your level. You're just a young girl who got caught up in a situation she couldn't handle.
You think you're so superior, don't you? Well, let me tell you, you're nothing, a nobody, and George knows it now.
Maybe that's how you see me, Nikki, but I know my worth. I won't let your insults define me.
That's enough. Lindsay, just leave.
Fine. I won't stay where I'm not wanted. At that moment, I knew I had to stand up for myself and take control of my life. Leaving the house was painful, but it was the first step towards reclaiming my strength and dignity. Nikki's insults couldn't break me anymore. I knew my worth, and I was determined to build a new life free from the shadows of betrayal and humiliation. I knew I had to be patient and craft a plan that would humiliate her in the same way she had humiliated me. I pretended not to recognize her and acted like the betrayed wife, silently collecting evidence of George's affair. As days turned into weeks, I reached out to my past allies, former students, colleagues, and even the principal who had stood by me during my ordeal. Together, we formed a plan to expose Nikki's past wrongdoings and bring her to justice. One night, when George and Nikki were out, I set my plan into motion. I gathered all the evidence of Nikki's lies, rumors, and manipulations from the past. I made sure everything was well documented and backed by witnesses. With my allies by my side, we unleashed the truth on the internet. I posted a detailed account of Nikki's past actions, making sure to protect the identities of those who were also affected by her lies. The post quickly gained traction, and people were shocked to learn the real face of the seemingly innocent girl they had once known. As the internet erupted in anger, I watched with satisfaction as Nikki's social media accounts were flooded with comments and messages exposing her for who she truly was. The wrath of strangers poured down on her, and she found herself at the receiving end of the same humiliation she had once put me through. But I wasn't finished. I ensured that the evidence reached the right authorities, and soon Nikki was summoned to court for her past actions. The courtroom was filled with people who had been hurt by her lies, and she had to face them all. As the proceedings unfolded, Nikki's arrogance crumbled and she had reduced to tears, realizing the gravity of her past mistakes. Witnesses after witness testified against her, recounting the pain and suffering she had caused. She had no defense, and her attempts to justify her actions fell flat. In the end, the court ruled against her, and she faced several consequences for her lies and manipulations. Her reputation was shattered, and the world now knew the truth about her. As I watched Nikki leave the courtroom broken and humiliated, I couldn't help but feel a sense of justice served. I had turned the tables on her just as she had once done to me. The revenge I sought wasn't about destroying her, but about making her understand the pain she had caused me and others. From that moment on, I let go of the bitterness that had consumed me for so long. My husband's betrayal no longer defined me, and Nikki's presence in my life became nothing more than a distant memory. I had risen above it all, stronger and more resilient than ever before, and the sweet taste of revenge had given way to a sense of closure and peace. The aftermath of my revenge on Nikki had far-fetching consequences that extended beyond our personal lives. The public exposure of her past wrongdoings served as a cautionary tale for others, showing them that actions have consequences, and lies and manipulations can come back to haunt you. Nikki's downfall also sparked conversations about the importance of empathy and understanding in the age of social media. People began to realize the power and responsibility that comes with the ability to share information and opinions online. The incident became a case study for educators, parents, and teenagers alike, prompting discussions about the impact of cyberbullying and the importance of digital literacy. However, amidst the discussions and reflections, I remained focused on my healing and growth. I channeled my energy into my teaching, determined to make a positive impact on the lives of my students. I created a safe and nurturing environment in my classroom, fostering open communication and encouraging my students to be kind to one another. Over time, my reputation as a caring and dedicated teacher spread beyond the school. I was invited to speak at educational conferences where I shared my experiences and the lessons I had learned from the ordeal with Nikki. My story became an inspiration for others who had faced similar challenges and struggles. As for George, the consequences of his actions caught up with him as well. His infidelity led to the dissolution of our marriage and faced backlash from his peers and colleagues for his betrayal. The shame and guilt he carried served as a constant reminder of the pain he had caused, and he was forced to confront his demons. In contrast, my life took a positive trajectory. I found new love and support in unexpected places. A kind and understanding colleague became a pillar of strength for me, and our friendship blossomed into a deep and meaningful relationship. With him, I found love, trust, and the joy of a fresh start. My revenge had come full circle, transforming from a quest for humiliation to an opportunity for growth, redemption, and understanding. The experience taught me that revenge was a hollow victory, but seeking empathy, compassion, and personal growth brought about true healing. As I reflected on my journey, I realized that the true triumph of revenge was not in bringing someone else down, but in rising above the hurt and transforming it into positive change. I had shown Nikki the consequences of her actions, and in return, I had discovered my strength and resilience. Life life continued to unfold with its ups and downs, but I faced enough challenge with newfound wisdom and grace. My story became an inspiration not just for my students and colleagues, but for anyone who had experienced betrayal, humiliation, or the desire for revenge. In the end, my revenge was not about seeking humiliation for the antagonist, but about finding the strength to rebuild my life and make a difference in the lives of others. And in that realization, I found a sense of peace and fulfillment that surpassed anything revenge could ever offer. I screamed my lungs out as I saw my dear husband lying on the bathroom floor. His nose was bleeding and bruises were visible all over his body. He just came home from a 1-month business trip, and I could still remember he was having a fever as he traveled to the States. And now, he was lying unconscious. I immediately checked on his pulse and I panicked when it beat so slow. I started to call the ambulance, and in one instance they came. I cried my heart out as I saw my husband being carried by a stretcher. The medical staff were all surrounding him, checking his vitals and injecting IVs into his arms. I couldn't bear to witness this situation. He is my rock and my hero, and I couldn't afford to lose him this early. I have always told him to have his health checked because I have been noticing changes in his condition. He started to have dark bruises all around his body, and he is constantly having high fever, which concerns me the most. I even insisted on letting him stay at home and not attend their business, but he kept on telling me that it is needed for his promotion, and it is something I cannot argue with him. Because my husband Donald is a very workaholic man. He never lived a day being unproductive. He would constantly work and work until he burned out. But he told me that it is his passion and he loves working to support us, his family, and to allow himself to grow in his career. And as a loving spouse, I supported and took care of him because I want all the best for him. Because I can attest to his goodness. He takes care of me. He loves me more than I could ever imagine. And he protects me at all costs. Now it breaks my heart to see him suffering in pain. Whatever it is that he's feeling right now, I want to take it away from him. As soon as we got to the hospital, he was rushed to the emergency room. I could see the doctors' worried faces as they checked on him. I am so worried about what the doctor's diagnosis will be. But I have to be strong for him because I know that he will get through this. After a few moments, I heard a loud banter coming from the hallway. I recognized the voice immediately and I started to have a panic attack. Her voice was so loud and I was so angry. My heart started to beat so fast as if a familiar traumatic experience was building in my heart. The voice started to become more audible until I saw her. My mother-in-law, Sheena, with my sister-in-law, Lori. Both of them are heading in our direction, mad and frustrated. As soon as Sheena saw me, I could tell that her face fumed with madness. She came near me and slapped me so hard that the impact echoed throughout the hallway. Everyone gasped, all their heads turned towards us and started to murmur. My cheeks numbed in pain. My sister-in-law Laurie slapped me on the other side again, and this time people started to gather around us. "What happened to my son? What did you do to him?" I could feel my head throbbing and the burning sensation on my cheeks. I couldn't believe they were asking me this question. I didn't do anything.
Liar! My brother got hospitalized because of your responsibility.
That is not my fault. You knew all too well that I played my part as his wife.
Oh, do shut up, witch. If anything happens to my son, I will blame you for everything.
She rolled her eyes at me and proceeded to walk towards the reception area again. She kept on asking about the operation. All eyes were fixed on me. I feel so ashamed of what she did. I was so helpless, and it felt like everyone in the room was judging me. Then I heard Lori whispering to her mother. It was not even a whisper to begin with. Mom, what will happen now? I still have to go to Bali to meet up with my boyfriend. Donald is in a critical condition. All of their money will be used in his operation. Laurie depicted a frustrated and panicking reaction. My heart breaks from what I heard. The two of them are always controlling our finances. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law both feel like they're living a billionaire's life as they lavish and use our hard-earned money for their good. That is why my husband has to constantly work day and night just to sustain and provide for their curated lifestyle. And now they still have the guts and audacity to think about themselves and to use the money intended for my husband's recovery? They are more than selfish. Don't worry, love, we will make a way. You will get to Bali and meet the love of your life. I fear for my husband and his condition. This has happened before as well. When I needed money for the injury that I acquired at work, my husband was out on another business trip at that time, so my mother-in-law had control over my husband's credit card instead of me because she insisted on doing so. That's why I wasn't able to get admitted immediately because I wasn't able to pay for my therapy. I begged her to help me and to give me some money because, after all, it is my hard-earned money. I worked hard for it and she will just have full control over it? I felt so helpless because she even threatened to hurt me if I told my husband about my injury. And then I discovered that Sheena allowed Lori to use all the money for her birthday party. They threw out an extravagant and glamorous party using my money while I was fighting for my life in the hospital. It was a very traumatic experience for me, and I don't want my husband to experience it as well. That experience alerted me to check on our bank account quickly, but as soon as I checked it, my heart shattered into pieces. The money was transferred to another account and it is Lori's. This is so mad. Why are they doing this to us while my husband was still on his 6-hour operation? I confronted them, and while I was approaching them, there were no signs of any concern or any remorse for my husband. And the worst and the most inhumane thing that they did was that they were even counting the money they just withdrew from my husband and my bank account. I wanted to slap them right there and then. I also want to shout at them and ask them how cruel they can be. They are ruthless and insensitive. It feels like they have no love for their family, their blood, and everything makes sense because there was a time when I overheard them talking about Donald being an adopted child. They don't see Donald as he is, a loving son and a kind person. They have always mistreated him, tormenting him that adopting him was a bad idea because they blamed him for the reason why their family was broken. After all, Sheena's husband divorced her, but it is due to her bad attitude, and Donald has always been so sickly since birth. Now, as we grow older, he has a different illness, and I struggle to provide him with the care he deserved because our limited resources were being squandered by my selfish sister-in-law and enabling mother-in-law who indulged their every whim while my husband suffered. Their insatiable desires left me helpless, unable to give Donald the best possible care. It was a constant reminder of how little I mattered in their eyes. And look at this right now, it got worse. I feel so sorry for my husband. I want to fight for him. I approached them and asked for the money they stole. Yes, they stole it. I will label it like that. I know you withdraw all the money from our bank account. Please, I need it back for Donald's medical expenses. Sheena just gave me an offended look. Excuse me? My son owns this money and he makes this for us, so we will use it as much as we please. And for goodness sake, he is your husband. Pay for his hospital bills instead. Do you expect my son to pay his bills? What's your role then? I closed my eyes to contain my anger. Please, he's your son. It's our shared account and all my money was in there too. Help us. She just laughed at me.
Well, that's not my problem.
I ruffled my hair in frustration. This is so crazy. What will you do with the money then? Have you seen your son suffering in the operating room? She rolled her eyes at me.
Of course, I'm not blind, and besides, it's not that fatal anyway. He will get through it. Laurie needs the money more.
My jaw dropped out of disbelief. I never thought a heartless mother like her would exist. I just couldn't believe it. And then the doctor suddenly went out of the operating room with a concerned face. He immediately looked for Donald's family and I stepped in. He's in a very critical condition. We found lots of cancer cells in his skin and it is dividing fast. They are slowly consuming the entire body. We need bags of type AB minus blood within an hour or we will lose him. I gasped in shock that I almost collapsed to the floor, but the doctor held me. I am sorry, we're doing our best now. I couldn't contain all the information that he told me. My mind floats and I couldn't comprehend what is happening. I am so weak and out of focus. Please, doctor, do everything to save my husband. The doctor nodded and tapped my shoulder. Be strong for him. After that, he went back to the operating room, and I was left there crying with my heart filled with longing and anxiety. 2 hours later, the doctor came out again and announced that my husband was gone. I broke down in the hospital hallway and cried my heart out. My husband is dead.
Doctor, is my son dead?
My mother-in-law asked with no hint of concern. Yes, madam, I am so sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry. I have accepted it since the start.
The doctor was taken aback by her response.
By the way, where can we ask for his last will?
I seriously wanted to slap her because of her rudeness, but the doctor answered her first. I don't know what's wrong with you, madam, but your son is dead, and I think it's improper to talk about claiming his property rights right now. Please respect that. She just rolled her eyes and walked away. She's very heartless. And I never knew that after my husband passed away, my life would take a dreadful turn. The burden of grief weighed heavy on my heart. But little did I know that my late husband's family would add more to my suffering. I mean, they have always been my source of struggle, but this time it has doubled. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law revealed their truest colors, showing a level of abuse and control that I never could have imagined. When my husband was alive, they only gaslight me and control our finances, but now they have truly crossed the line. As if losing my husband wasn't enough, I soon found myself at their mercy. Sheena and Lori gained control of our entire estate, claiming it as their own. They treated me as nothing more than a servant, expecting me to work tirelessly to provide for their every want and need. To add insult to injury, they would introduce me as their maid to their guests and friends, stripping away any dignity I had left. Then came the fateful day when Lori, the epitome of greed, announced her engagement to a wealthy man, the one that she met at Bali, using my husband and my money. And now that my husband is gone, it was clear that they were only using the man for his money, another victim, and the thought of their manipulative motives sickened me to my core. Little did they know that this wedding would become the stage of my ultimate revenge. As their servant, because that's what they call me now, a maid and worthless woman, they tasked me with planning Lori's wedding, unaware that their plan would ultimately backfire. As I delved into their preparation, I stumbled upon the truth hidden beneath their deceit. Their true intentions were exposed, and I couldn't allow their charade to continue. I overheard another conversation between Sheena and Lori, and this time I caught it on record.
Good thing you made that guy fall in love with you. Now that your brother is gone, we won't worry about how to get money. Good job, love.
Lori giggled. He is so easy to fool, Mommy. He liked me immediately, and look at us now. We are getting married. It's time to steal that bag. Both of them laughed. You are just me, honey. Keep on doing that. I almost threw up as I listened to their sick conversation. They are twisted. The day of the wedding arrived, and as the guests gathered to witness this sham of a union, I mustered up all my courage. Standing before them, I took the microphone and laid bare their wickedness for all to see. I revealed their ulterior motives, exposing their greed and manipulations to the world. The shock and disbelief on their faces were priceless, and for a fleeting moment I felt a sense of triumph. At that moment, I took back my power. I refused to be their slave, their money making machine. I had suffered enough at their hands, and it was time for them to face the consequences of their actions. The revelation at the wedding party marked a turning point in my life, where I reclaimed my dignity and vowed to never allow anyone to mistreat me again. As the echoes of my words reverberated through the room, I saw the facade of my mother-in-law and sister-in-law crumble. Their carefully constructed world of lies and manipulation came crashing down, leaving them exposed and vulnerable. From that day forward, I vowed to live my life on my terms, free from their toxic influence. While the pain of losing my husband will forever remain, I am grateful for the strength and courage that emerged from the ashes of my suffering. I became the protagonist of my own story, refusing to be a pawn in their game any longer. And as I walked away from that wedding party, head held high, I knew that my revenge had been served. Walking away from the chaos and deceit that had consumed my life for far too long, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. No longer would I allow myself to be controlled and abused by my manipulative in-laws. I had taken a stand, exposing their true nature to the world, and it was a liberating feeling. In the aftermath of the wedding, I began to rebuild my life. It wasn't easy, as the scars of the past still lingered, but I was determined to create a future for myself that was free from their toxic grip. I sought support from friends and sought therapy to heal the emotional wounds that had been inflicted upon me. As time passed, I regained my self-confidence and rediscovered my worth. I focused on my well-being, nurturing my physical and mental health. I found solace in activities that brought me joy, and gradually the shadows of my past started to fade away. The legal battle that followed was arduous, but necessary. I fought tooth and nail to reclaim what was rightfully mine. With the help of a skilled attorney, I channeled the unjust claims my mother-in-law and sister-in-law had made on our property. It was a lengthy process, but justice prevailed, and I regained control over my husband's estate. The court victory not only restored my financial security, but also served as a powerful reminder of the strength I possessed. No longer would I allow myself to be pushed around and taken advantage of. I had learned the importance of standing up for myself and asserting my rights. Through this journey, I discovered my resilience and capacity for growth. I channeled my experiences into advocacy work, supporting others who had faced similar hardships. I became a voice for those who had been silenced, sharing my story and shedding light on the dark reality that many endure behind closed doors. As the years went by, my relationship with my late husband's family remained strained. While I harbored no ill towards them, I had made the conscious decision to distance myself from their toxicity. I focused on surrounding myself with a chosen family, individuals who uplifted and supported me unconditionally. Looking back, I realized that the wedding had catalyzed change. It was a turning point that set me on a path of self-discovery and empowerment. The revenge I sought wasn't about inflicting pain upon others, but rather about reclaiming my own life and finding peace within myself. Today, I stand tall, a survivor who has emerged from the depths of despair. The wounds of the past may still be visible, but they no longer define me. I have grown stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. My journey continues, and as I forge ahead, I carry with me the lessons learned from the darkness. I embrace each new day as an opportunity to create a life filled with love, compassion, and authenticity. And in doing so, I honor the memory of my late husband, finding solace in the knowledge that I am living a life true to myself on my terms.
Granny Agatha, I think you forgot to give Santa my wish list. Oh, my dear Lily, Santa doesn't bring great gifts to bad kids. I tried so hard to be a good kid this year.
I know, sweetie, you are one.
Well, maybe Santa thought a lump of coal is all you deserve because you're Katie's child.
Agatha, that's not funny. I am Katie, Lewis's wife and Lily's mother. Let me tell you about the Christmas when my mother-in-law gifted my daughter a lump of coal until she wished it was gifted to her instead. The holiday season was in full swing and our family was busy preparing to celebrate Christmas at my mother-in-law's house. As I gathered the necessary items and packed our bags, I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. Lily, our adorable daughter, was jumping up and down with a huge grin on her face as she couldn't contain her enthusiasm.
Mommy, I can't wait to see Granny Agatha. Do you think Santa will give me an amazing gift this year?
Of course, I'm sure he will, sweetheart. You have been such a good girl all year. Santa will surely notice all the kind and helpful things you have done. Lily's face lit up with joy, and she eagerly shared some of the things she had done to be a good kid this year.
I helped Mrs. Johnson carry her groceries, and I made sure to share my toys with my friends at school. I hope Santa brings me exactly what I asked for in my wish list. I wrote dollhouse with a garden, a new set of coloring markers, a book about magical adventures, and a fluffy stuffed unicorn.
Oh, that sounds like a wonderful list, Lily. Santa always tries his best to bring the gifts children wish for, so don't worry. As we continue to get ready, I turned to my husband and asked, do you think we should still get Lily a gift?
Oh no, don't worry. My mom already said that she bought presents for all her granddaughters and told us not to worry about it.
But I don't know. I feel bad celebrating Christmas empty-handed, especially for our daughter.
You know how my mother can be, Katie. She adores the kids and always wants to be the star of the holiday, showering them with gifts. I'm sure she's just too excited and couldn't resist buying them something special and perhaps personal.
You're probably right. We should go to your mother's house now. With that, we decided to go along with Agatha's wishes and not get Lily an additional gift. Instead, we looked forward to the joy that awaited us at Agatha's house, where the spirit of Christmas and the love of family would be the greatest gift of all, or so I thought. As we stepped through my mother-in-law's door, she greeted us with warm hugs and smiles. There were twinkling lights, festive decoration, a grand Christmas tree, and the aroma of freshly baked cookies that made my daughter shout with glee. As the night went on, we gathered around the Christmas tree. Lily and her cousins eagerly awaited the moment to open their gifts. One by one, the other grandchildren tore open their presents, revealing delightful surprises. Little Trisha gasped with joy when she unwrapped a beautiful princess costume with a tiara.
Wow, a princess costume! I'm going to be the prettiest princess ever and kiss my handsome prince.
Little Tommy opened his gift and couldn't stop giggling when he found a set of toy cars and a huge racetrack.
Look, Mommy, cars! Vroom, vroom! I'm going to race them.
As the children admired their presents, their parents gently reminded them,
"Don't forget to thank Granny Agatha for these amazing gifts. She made sure Santa knew exactly what you wished for."
"Granny, did you really give Santa our wish list?"
"Well, of course. Santa and I are old friends, you know. I make sure to pass along your wishes every year."
They wasted no time and rushed to Granny Agatha, showering her with hugs and kisses.
"Hooray, Granny Agatha, you're the best!" After seeing her cousins as gifts, Lily's excitement grew. With eager hands, she tore open her gift, her heart beating fast with anticipation. But to her dismay, all she found inside was a lump of coal. Tears welled up in Lily's eyes as she turned to her grandmother, obviously sad and disappointed.
What is this? Why is mine like this? Granny, I think you forgot to give Santa my wish list.
Agatha chuckled at my daughter's reaction.
Oh, my dear Lily, Santa doesn't bring great gifts to bad kids.
Lily ran to me and cried harder.
I tried so hard to be a good kid this year.
I know, sweetie. You're a good kid. I wrapped my arms around her in a reassuring hug while giving a dead stare to my mother-in-law. I knew she never liked me, but to bring my kids into this is just too low even for her.
Well, maybe Santa thought a lump of coal is all you deserve because you're Katie's child.
As Agatha's callous joke fell from her lips, I reprimanded her sternly. Agatha, that's not funny. Lily is just as special as her cousin, and we should treat her with love and respect. The other grandchildren, not fully grasping the impact of their words, laughed and teased Lily, unknowingly hurting her feelings. I can't believe this is how we are spending our Christmas. I didn't want it to continue any longer. So I turned to my husband and said,
I am not going to tolerate this disrespect to our child, especially on Christmas. We are leaving.
Louis hesitated, torn between staying with his family and supporting me.
Oh, come on, can't you take a little joke? Lily's grandmother's obviously joking.
I glanced back at Lily, who was trying to play with her cousin's toys but was being pushed away. She looked more and more downcast with each rejection.
Fine, you can stay, but Lily and I are leaving.
I couldn't bear to see her like this, so I gently took her hand and led her outside.
Leave that lump of coal behind, sweetheart. You don't need to carry it with you.
But it's from Santa. Maybe if I keep it, he will see that I'm a nice kid and I'll get a better gift next year.
I smiled at her resilience and decided to let her keep it as a reminder of her kindness. I knew that this experience had left a mark on her, so I decided to turn things around towards a more positive light. We went to a nearby mall so I could give Lily some gifts to make up for that disappointing gift from her grandmother. All right, my little elf, let's find some special gifts just for you. As we were about to put loads of toys in our cart, the snow started to fall heavily, causing a snowstorm. We took a peek out the window and saw how the streets were covered in a thick blanket of snow. It was clear that we wouldn't be able to go home anytime soon, but to our relief, the mall had a power generator and the stores remained open. Meanwhile, back at Agatha's place, the power outage had plunged the house into darkness. All the appliances were electric, and with the power gone, they had no means of cooking or keeping the food fresh.
This is a disaster. The food is going to spoil, and there's nothing we can do.
Maybe we can find some candles or something to at least have some light.
What a mess! And on Christmas Day of all days?
Back at the mall, Lily and I were enjoying the Christmas spirit with games and laughter. The people who were stuck inside the mall with us decided to make the most out of it and turned it into an impromptu Christmas party with games and activities for the children to enjoy. Lily's eyes lit up with excitement as she saw a group of kids gathered for a sack race. The mall staff had used large plastic bags and the children hopped around inside them, giggling and cheering each other on. The kids were so cute, wobbling their way towards the finish line. The mall staff continued to surprise everyone with a makeshift art and craft station where kids could create Christmas-themed decorations and a friendly face painting booth that transformed little ones into snowmen, reindeer, and elves. It was heartwarming to see the joy and camaraderie among the children despite being strangers only moments ago, a stark contrast to what Lily felt with her supposed family a while ago. Looks like we have stumbled upon a winter wonderland, haven't we, Lily?
Yes, Mommy, this is so fun and I want to keep playing.
As the snowstorm raged outside, the temperature inside Agatha's house continued to drop. The children huddled together for warmth, their little faces growing paler with each passing moment.
Granny Agatha, it's so cold. The fire in the fireplace is burning out.
Can't you see that the power is out? We don't have any way to heat the house. Stop whining. We're all suffering.
But I'm freezing. Can't you do something, Granny Agatha?
I gave the last of the coal to Lily, and there is no more wood for the fireplace. There's nothing I can do. Now keep quiet.
The children's cries of discomfort and frustration echoed through the house, and Agatha's patience began to wear. Agatha rushed to find her phone, dialed my number, and anxiously waited for me to pick it up. But there must have been issues with the phone reception due to the snowstorm, so it went to voicemail.
Katie, it's me, Agatha. Please come back and bring the lump of coal with you. It's getting really cold here, and I don't know what to do. I need you and Lily. I'll make it up to her, I promise. I'll buy her the biggest and most expensive toy there is.
The coldness in Agatha's house seemed to intensify. The children sniffed, but they continued to shiver in the cold, with cries even louder than before. Agatha, annoyed by their persistent cries, decided to take drastic measures. In a moment of frustration, she grabbed the gifts she gave her grandchildren earlier and threw them into the fireplace, hoping to generate some heat.
There! Happy now? Can you please shut up now?
The children's cries only grew louder at the sight of their cherished presents going up in the flames. Agatha's attempts to bring warmth to the house had backfired, and she regretted her impulsive action.
What have you done, Mom?
You ruined our gifts. Why did you do that, Grandma? I hate you.
The children continued to cry, feeling upset and disappointed by the loss of their gifts. Agatha realized that her anger had only made things worse, and she wished she could turn back time and handle the situation differently. For Lily and I, we received a pleasant surprise. The mall manager recognized the inconvenience caused by the weather and wanted to make Christmas memorable despite the circumstances. So he decided to spread some Christmas cheer by giving gift certificates to all the children stuck inside the mall.
Ladies and gentlemen, we know the weather outside is frightful, but we want to make your time here delightful. As a special treat, we are giving all the children gift certificates to our toy store. Let's bring some joy to this snowy day.
The mall manager handed out the gift certificates, and Lily clutched hers tightly in her hands. Look, Lily, you get to buy a toy from the toy store.
Really, Mommy? Can I get anything I want?
Yes, sweetheart, anything you want. Lily led me to the toy store where the options seemed endless. Lily's mind was buzzing with the possibilities as she carefully considered her choices.
I want something really special, something big and magical.
She explored the aisles, looking at the dolls, action figures, and games, but nothing quite captured her imagination like the display in the corner of the store.
Mommy, look! It's the ultimate adventure castle! It's huge! And it has knights and dragons and secret passages. Can I get that?
Oh, Lily, it's amazing. Are you sure that's what you want?
Yes, Mommy. This is the best Christmas ever.
That smile on her face, knowing she got the gift she deserved, it's such a beautiful sight to see as a mother. Back at Agatha's house, the atmosphere had grown literally and figuratively cold.
I'm so sorry, kids. I didn't mean to hurt you or ruin your Christmas. It was all a mistake. I wish I could do something to make this better.
Agatha's heart sank as she saw the pain and disappointment in her grandchildren's eyes. The once warm and loving relationship she had with them had now turned icy cold. They no longer ran to her with open arms, seeking her comfort and affection. Instead, they gave her the silent treatment, avoiding any interaction with her.
Uncle Lush, Granny Agatha said we would have a great Christmas, but it's awful. I hate it here. Yeah, We're freezing and hungry, and she's the reason why. I don't want to see her or even talk to her anymore.
Agatha's heart broke as she witnessed the extent of the hurt she had caused. She felt like the Grinch who stole Christmas, but in her case, she had unintentionally stolen her grandchildren's joy and excitement. As the snowstorm finally subsided, I noticed the missed voicemail on my phone from Agatha. Without a second thought, I bundled up Lily and rushed over to Agatha's house. When we arrived, the house was still cold and dark. Lily took the lump of coal and handed it to me.
Mommy, can we put this in the fireplace? Maybe it will help Grandma.
I smiled at my daughter's kind heart and placed the lump of coal in the fireplace. As the flames flickered to life, the warmth slowly returned to the house. Agatha was embarrassed but grateful.
Thank you for the coal.
The tables had turned as well for the children. Agatha's other grandchildren now saw Lily's ultimate adventure castle with envy. They were now the ones pleading with Lily to let them play with it since theirs were now burnt and gone. The following Christmases, the family dynamic was vastly different. Agatha felt too humiliated and traumatized by her past actions to spend the holiday with us or her other grandchildren. Instead, she chose to spend it alone. My house now became the new favorite gathering place for the grandchildren. They all loved the warm and welcoming atmosphere in my house, the same feeling I longed for in Agatha's. And so, I hope my mother-in-law finally understands how even a lump of coal can light up the darkest hearts and warm up the coldest souls. Now, that's a Christmas miracle. I am Nina, and I have always dreamed of living a simple life with my husband and children. On top of that, since I was young, I have always been so optimistic about my life. I always wanted to live a life that is full of adventure yet simple and peaceful. And I want to spend it intimately with the family that I wanted to build with. My parents are my rock, and I have seen how they embody a life of adventures and simplicity. I grew up filled with their love and support, and I am determined to build a family that feels warm and safe, just the same as the family that I have growing up. So when I met my husband Denver, I knew that he is the man that I am down to build this life with. Back when we were dating, we shared the same principles in life, and the same goes today. We both love traveling, trying new things, and still enjoy the calmness of a simple lifestyle. For us, that is what we call balance. I love him to the core, and my family loves him as well. But on his end, it's quite different. His mother, Lucia, never showed affection nor even a hint of likeness to me. She often talks to me with no respect, as if she would just straight up say to my face, "I don't like you for my son," and it does feel that way. Her actions towards me are terrible. She made me feel uncomfortable during their family gatherings and even refused to address me by my name and only called me that girl. It hurts because I'm trying my best for her to like me, but no matter how hard I try, she still hates me. I would often hear her talk bad about me to their relatives whenever my husband, who was my boyfriend at that time, would invite me to their family gatherings, which happens often. I heard her gossiping about me with Denver's aunt in the kitchen. I was about to fetch some fresh fruits in the pantry when I decided to eavesdrop.
She's so grim. Whenever she was at our house, the atmosphere would go dark immediately. She has that bad vibes that annoy me, that make me want to smack her face out. I mean, just look at her. What a dull woman.
My heart felt a sudden sting. It pains me so badly as I listen to the way she describes me. Oh, don't say that. She's a sweet child. Denver's mother laughed so hard, mocking his aunt.
Are you joking? There's nothing sweet about that girl. She's tasteless and ugly, and her style is a piece of rubbish. I wonder where my son met her. At first I thought of her as poor and living on the brink of poverty.
Denver's aunt heaved a sigh. I don't know what you are talking about, but I don't see her that way.
Well, I only want what's best for my son, and that girl will only bring him to tragedy. I prefer my high school best friend's daughter more. That lady has more class than that dumb-looking whore named Nina.
I could feel my tears falling and my heart numbing in pain. I heard footsteps coming and it was Denver's aunt coming out. So I quickly hid in the bathroom before she saw me. I have always been so good to Lucia. I never disrespected her, even though she always does that to me. Because I know that she is Denver's mother, and out of my love for her son, I would still choose to respect her. That conversation got imprinted in my head. It tormented me for how many years, and it stemmed out my insecurities and heartaches. I never told Denver about it because I don't want to cause any trauma. Nevertheless, his mother's disapproval of me didn't stop us from continuing our relationship. Denver and I were engaged and his mother has nothing to do about it. And after months of preparation, we got married. He promised me that he will never let his mother hurt me again as we were building our own family from now on. But little did we know, Lucia has been planning to stay with us. She convinced her son to let her stay at our place, and because of Denver's soft heart, he agreed. And to me, that is a wrong decision. But I didn't even try to argue because I don't want to sound like the bad guy here. So I compromised and welcomed her to our humble abode. I thought now that I am Denver's wife, everything would be better, but it gets worse. Ever since I married her son and she moved in with us, I sensed that Lucia harbored a deep-rooted animosity towards me even more, and it is more intensified than it was before. She never hesitated to belittle me in front of others, criticizing everything from my appearance to my abilities as a wife and mother. Her words were like poison, slowly corroding my self-esteem.
Look at you, pretending to be a mother. You're nothing more than a burden on my son and my grandchildren. I bet they would be better off without you.
I was taking care of my eldest daughter because she was having a fever, and my mother-in-law decided to drop her insults again. I am so done with all her shit. So I remained silent, holding back tears and just focused on my child.
You can't even handle simple tasks. It's no wonder my son has to go on business trips to get away from you. You're a failure as a wife and mother. And look at my granddaughter. She's sick because you weren't able to take care of her. You're a worthless mother.
She clicked my head with her pointed finger. She even grabbed my hair because she was so angry at me. But I just took a deep breath and tried to maintain my composure.
You think I don't see how you struggle? You're pathetic. I raised my son better than this.
I bite my lip, refusing to give Lucia the satisfaction of a reaction.
You're a stain on this family's reputation. I don't know how my son could have chosen someone like you. You're a worthless whore, dumb and stupid.
I closed my eyes momentarily, trying to block out the hurtful words, but I could feel the tears slowly forming in my eyes.
If it weren't for those kids, I would have thrown you out long ago. You're nothing but trouble. I would want you out of our lives.
I remained silent as I continued brushing the warm towel on my daughter's forehead. I just focused on the love I have for my children, finding strength in their presence. Until she grabbed my chin and harassed me.
Look at me, you idiot! Do you want me to take out your eyeballs? You are lucky my son provides for you. Otherwise, you would be on the streets begging for scraps.
I took a deep breath, knowing that my restraint is the best way to protect my children from further harm. I didn't answer her and I just stared at her.
I can't believe you're their mother. They deserve so much better than you.
Her grip on my chin was so tight that I was fighting to hold back my tears, and then she let go of me. She went out and opened the door, but as soon as she got out, my 6-year-old younger son was at the door holding his phone, and his face was filled with concern. He immediately ran towards me and hugged me so tight. I wanted to fight back. I wanted to hurt her the way she hurt me, yet, for the sake of my husband and children, I endured her verbal abuse. Yes, children. Denver and I have 2 children now, and imagine the mental and emotional torture that Lucia caused me for almost 10 years now. She would insult, abuse, and mistreat me whenever my husband was not around, and she even dared to brainwash my children, especially the eldest. That's why my eldest daughter hated me for no reason at all. The turning point came when my husband had to travel abroad for an extended business trip, leaving me alone with the kids. It was as if Lucia saw this as the opportune moment to unleash her pent-up hatred and exact her revenge. One evening, she cooked dinner for us under the pretense of reconciling our differences. Yes, she said right in front of me with the words,
I don't want us to fight. I will be better for the family and I will make it up to you. I am so sorry.
I naively hoped that maybe, just maybe, she would soften her heart. But the moment we finished the dinner that she prepared for us and I was completely oblivious to her deceiving plans, her true intentions became apparent. Her icy glare sent shivers down my spine, and I knew I was in for a brutal encounter.
You have brainwashed my son into marrying you.
She spat venomously. I was shocked by her impulse. I knew it. I knew she would never soften her heart. She is just ruthless.
You're a disgrace, a worthless addition to this family.
As she said those words, my eldest daughter, whom she brainwashed, nodded her head in agreement. Her cruel words wounded me deeply, but I tried to stand my ground. I didn't want to show her how much she hurt me, but my efforts were in vain. Please, Lucia, enough with this. She just laughed at me and rolled her eyes.
Why? Because it is true? You're nothing but a speck of dirt in our lives. Your children hate you, and my son will never come back for you. You're a loser clinging to life.
That is not true. Our family is stronger than you ever think. I don't know why you hate me so much. All I ever did was to do everything just to please you, but you never liked me. I am so tired of all your disrespectful words and mistreatments. Within moments after I said those words, she erupted in rage, hurling insults at me until she finally screamed,
Get out of my house! You don't deserve to be here! You're worthless and dirty!
She straight came to me and grabbed my arm by force. Her grip was so tight that I could feel my arm stinging in pain. She even grabbed my hair and dragged me to the front door. In tears, I pleaded with her, begging her to reconsider, but she was relentless. She pointed to the door and shoved me towards it, demanding that I leave immediately.
I want you out of here. You think you're brave? Then show it to me. Go live in that dark world and fight for your life, you idiot.
My children stood by her side. My youngest son cried as he looked at me, while the eldest one was just staring at me, motionless and confused. With a heavy heart, I took my children's hands, but Lucia stopped me. She pushed me away and I stepped out into the cold night.
You will never see your children again.
My youngest child screamed in tears, while my eldest also started crying as well. My heart broke as I saw them screaming for my name. Lucia, please, don't do this. Lucia handed me a stack of newspapers, telling me to sleep on the street like the trash she thought I was. My kids kept on crying, confused and frightened by their grandmother's heartless behavior. And then she slammed the door, leaving me outside, and the rain started pouring. I didn't leave our house. I knocked many times until the guard of the village stopped me. I stayed in front of our house, soaking wet and lying on the newspaper that she threw at me. What I didn't know at the time was that my youngest child had started capturing snippets of Lucia's abusive behavior on her phone way before this incident. Unable to bear the injustice, he had taken it upon himself to expose his grandmother's true nature. And he also captured the moment when I was lying on the newspaper outside by her room's window. My son, who was tech savvy beyond his years, had created a secret folder on his phone, accumulating evidence of Lucia's abuse towards me over time. He had become my silent avenger, determined to bring his grandmother's true colors to light. Unbeknownst to me, he had uploaded the video of me sleeping on the streets to Facebook, sharing the raw truth of my humiliation with the world. But that was just the beginning. As days passed, he secretly filmed more incidents revealing the extent of Lucia's cruelty. The moment of reckoning came when the last straw broke the camel's back. In a burst of anger, Lucia grabbed my eldest child's arm roughly, leaving bruises behind. He captured the entire incident on video and promptly shared it with the world. Within hours, the internet exploded with outrage. People from all walks of life, celebrities, activists, and even politicians voiced their support for me and my children. My mother-in-law's actions had ignited a fire of public fury that could not be quenched. The humiliation I had endured now paled in comparison to the embarrassment Lucia faced. The court of public opinion had found her guilty, and there was no escaping the consequences of her actions. Soon after, the police arrived at her doorstep, responding to numerous reports of her abusive behavior. The video evidence provided by my brave son was undeniable, and it sealed Lucia's fate. And I was still staying outside for 3 days, and people gathered to see me and witness the incidents. As reporters swarmed around the house, capturing Lucia's hysterics on camera, I couldn't help but feel a sense of poetic justice. The tables had turned, and the woman who had tried to destroy me was now the one exposed for her true nature. Her arrest marked the beginning of my family's healing process. We were no longer under the shadow of her hatred, and my children slowly started to rediscover their love for me as they saw me standing up for our well-being. The revenge I had sought was not to humiliate or embarrass my mother-in-law, but the truth of her actions did that for me. Her downfall was the consequences of her own venomous choices, and though I could never forget the pain she had caused me, I chose to move forward, focusing on rebuilding our lives with love and support. My mother-in-law's cruelty had inadvertently united my family and brought us closer to a world of empathy and understanding. We emerged stronger from this ordeal, no longer shackled by her hatred, but free to embrace the love and kindness that had been waiting for us all along. In the aftermath of Lucia's arrest, our lives slowly began to transform for the better. With the toxic influence of my mother-in-law removed from our lives, my children and I found solace in the support of friends, neighbors, and even strangers who had rallied behind us during the ordeal. The overwhelming sense of community and compassion helped us heal wounds that had been festering for far too long. As the legal proceedings continued, the evidence against Lucia piled up, revealing a pattern of abuse and cruelty that shocked even those who had known her for years. It became evident that her hatred extended far beyond just me. She had been mistreating her own family for years, leaving a trail of emotional scars in her wake. The court proceedings exposed Lucia's true character to the world, and her reputation crumbled before her very eyes. People who had once admired her now saw her for the monster she was. The humiliation she faced was more profound than anything she had ever inflicted upon me. Throughout the trial, I kept my focus on nurturing my children's emotional well-being. The scars of their grandmother's abuse would take time to heal, but with therapy and unconditional love, they began to regain their sense of security and self-worth. Emma, my brave little adventurer, became my source of inspiration. Her strength and resilience showed me the power of a child's love and the courage it takes to stand up against justice. Despite everything, I chose to maintain empathy rather than sink to Lucia's level. As her life spiraled out of control, I couldn't find it in my heart to take pleasure in her downfall. Instead, I wished for her to realize the consequences of her actions and hopefully seek redemption and change. In the months that followed, Lucia's trial concluded with a conviction, and she faced the penalties for her abusive behavior. She was mandated to undergo counseling and attend anger management classes. Additionally, a restraining order was put in place to protect my children and me from any further harm. Throughout the legal process, I emphasized to my children the importance of forgiveness, not for Lucia's sake, but for their peace of mind. I wanted them to understand that carrying the burden of hatred and resentment would only weigh them down. Instead, we focused on moving forward and building a life based on love, respect, and kindness. As we rebuilt our lives, I immersed myself in advocacy work for victims of abuse. I was determined to turn our painful experience into a catalyst for positive change. By sharing our story, we hope to raise awareness about the hidden epidemic of domestic abuse and inspire others to break free from the chains of cruelty. The support we received during our darkest hours continued to pour in, but I was especially moved by the compassionate actions of a newspaper company and its staff. Not only had they come to my rescue when I was sleeping on the streets, but they also reached out to support our advocacy work. They offered me a platform to share our story, to bring hope to those who were suffering, and to raise awareness about the importance of breaking the cycle of abuse. Together, we formed a powerful alliance that fought against the darkness of abuse and cruelty. Our message resonated with countless people, and the movement gained momentum, leading to positive changes in the way society addressed such issues. In time, our family found healing, not just from the wounds inflicted by Lucia, but from the scars of our past. Our journey had been one of resilience, redemption, and above all, love. Through the darkest moments of my life, I discovered the strength within myself, the unwavering support of my children, and the indomitable power of unity. Today, as we stand together, our hearts are filled with gratitude for the outpouring of love and kindness we received from people who saw us not as victims, but as survivors. Our story serves as a beacon of hope from those trapped in the clutches of abuse and a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness and compassion. In the end, our revenge was not a cruel act of humiliation, but a story to triumph over adversity and a birth of a new chapter in our lives. We emerged from the darkness stronger and more united, ready to embrace the beauty of life and the joy that comes from building a future filled with love and empathy.